Scanning for audio.
Welcome once again to a Tin Dog podcast. Now, I just need to discuss something that isn't from Big Finish, but it did take 6 hours to get through. No, that sounds wrong. I had an absolute blast listening to Mask of Nyarlathotep from, the company, the H.P. Lovecraft Historical Society. Yes, I'm going to talk about H.P. Lovecraft. Get over it. You know the way that I always love that kind of thing. And I could talk for several hours about how much I adore the game Call of Cthulhu. In fact, you know what? I'll mention it now. H.P. Lovecraft wrote some scary stories in the past, and he died in 1939, and then in the late 70s and early 80s there was a game created using his world, his mythos, his alien monsters, to create a spooky investigation story, which was the, as far as I'm concerned, better version than the Dungeons and Dragons kind of setup. You would investigate monsters and strange cults. Now, in this game that was available, and bear with me, in this game that was available, there are things called scenarios, and they are like a one-chapter story. But then there's something called a campaign. Bear with me. And a campaign is a series of individual stories that would develop. And one of the most famous of these that was available to buy, and you can still buy it now, I think it's in its 6th edition. And when you buy it, you get a load of usable stuff, recordings, props, everything. Oh my God. Now, it's not cheap. You're looking at about 100 odd quid for this sort of thing. But trust me, it could take your players well over a year to complete. You've got 6 specific global locations, but I'm not here to talk about this. What I am talking about is this dark radio adaptation of the role-playing campaign. Yeah, get your head round that. Actors performing as if they are characters performing the same storyline that happens in this game, but as a real live radio play. And here's the best bit: as if it was a 1930s American broadcast, like your sort of War of the Worlds thing where it would cut away to adverts. Oh my God, I just need to say this. During these performances, which are done full cast with great music, and it sounds like there's even a band there, you get cutaways to adverts for products which don't exist, which are practically dangerous. They are hilarious. Every time there's a moment of action, it cuts away. Loved it. This thing lasts about 6 hours to listen to. Even at the end it said, "You have been listening to for a very long time." Trust me, it'll take you days to get through, and you will adore this. You genuinely would. It's totally different from any of the Big Finish audios that you've been listening to because it knows exactly what it is. It is a retelling of something that you've probably already played if you're into Call of Cthulhu, the Mask of Nyarlathotep, but it is retold to you gorgeously. I cannot recommend this enough, seriously. If you want to try something a bit different, then do this. Now, if you've played the game, it's even better because you're imagining yourself, you're remembering your characters being in the same situations, doing similar stuff. When you visit the Great Races City in Australia in the game, it can take ages, but the moments, the entire chapter that's set in this Australian location, just brilliant, very atmospheric. Shanghai, the works. And because it's the 1930s, you get beautifully constructed characterization and gorgeousness. It's just an absolute treat for the ears. If there is a trailer, I'll put it on at the end. I'll even try and find a snippet for you that sums up the magic of the whole piece. There are others available in the range, and I'm going to try and get those when I can afford them. But this is a nostalgia trip for something you may not even have done. I would recommend, if you are playing the game, don't bother listening to this just yet. Wait till you've finished playing the campaign, and then, and only then, listen to this. Because it would act as spoilers. But let's face it, it's spoilers for something you could have done 25 years ago. And if you did experience the role-playing game 25 years ago, and you played this scenario, this campaign, then get this. It'll be a nostalgia trip well worth taking. So until next time, be seeing you. That was the Tin Dog Podcast. Everything discussed is the intellectual property of others. No infringement is intended. For early access to reviews, follow the show on YouTube or Twitter @TinDogPodcast. To contact the show, email tin-dog@hotmail.co.uk. The Tin Dog Podcast is a founder member of the Doctor Who Podcast Alliance.